Hi, I'm Geoff, and welcome back to xHanky Lifestyle TV. Today, we're going to make another quick and easy recipe, and we're going to be making banana cake. So, let's get started. So the key to banana cake, a really good banana cake, is to start with some bananas which are a little bit closer to the use-by date than you would probably want to eat them. So as you can see, I've got some bananas here which were maybe starting to become very, very ripe, and this is a great way to use up your overripe bananas. So let's start off by peeling the bananas and then slicing them into smaller pieces, and then we are going to mash them. So get in there with the fork if you can. I find the fork's the best way to do it. Some people use a blender or something, but a fork is fine. And mash those up. Now we'll go across to the stove, and now we'll take about between 100 and 150 grams of butter, get that into the pan, and with it add about half a cup to a cup of sugar, depending on how sweet you like it. And I'm also adding a little bit of vanilla essence as well for a little bit of extra flavour. So now melt the butter with the sugar and the vanilla essence, and stir that round as it melts until you get a nice even consistency. And you want really all of the sugar to dissolve as well. So once you've got the sugar dissolved and you've got the butter melted, add in your pre-smashed banana mix. Get all that in there and then start it mixing up. You want this to become a reasonably consistent mixture, so just keep stirring that while it heats up, and once it's nice and sort of consistent, you can take that out of the pan and get it into a mixing dish. So once you've got it in the mixing dish, it's off the heat now, and we really start to make the dough for the cake. So I've got a couple of eggs. It's always good to add a couple of eggs to bind any cake. So add 2 eggs in there, and now start mixing those in. Some people will use a blender for this. I'm always a bit old school with my cakes. I like to use either a whisk or just an old wooden spoon, and that's what I'm doing here. So I've blended in the eggs, and now I'm gradually adding in about a total of 2 cups of self-raising flour. It does need to be self-raising flour because we're making a cake. You can make your own self-raising flour if you like, and the 3 ingredients in self-raising flour are just pretty much standard flour, baking powder, and a little bit of salt, I believe. So you can look up online how to make that for yourself and do that, or just buy the self-raising flour from the supermarket. So now I'm mixing the whole mixture together, and you want to add it gradually. If you add the flour gradually, you tend to get a more consistent mix. So you mix it until the dough starts to form. As you can see, that's starting to happen now. There we go. So we've got all the flour in there, and just keep it mixing for a little bit longer. You're looking for a very consistent dough. You want it to basically cook evenly, so it needs to be consistent. Now once you've got a bit of a dough starting to form there, I'm now adding some full cream milk. So you can add about 3/4 of a cup of that, as you can see there. And add that gradually as well. Easy does it with a cake. Take your time. Just pour the milk in and then kind of fold the cake on top of the milk, as I'm trying to do there. And keep mixing that until you've got the milk in there, and this will change the consistency of the dough from a dough to more of a I guess you would call it a sort of a cake dough that you can then pour, which is what we're going to do in the next step. As you can see, it's become pourable, and that's great. So now I've lined the 2 baking dishes, or cake trays actually. One of them's a loaf and one of them's just a standard cake tray. And now what you want to do is pour the cake into those, the cake mix. And you'll want to smooth those out. You want to make sure it's as even as possible. If it's an even shape and if it's an even height across the cake, it'll cook evenly. So you'll want to make sure that you do that. So we're going to have a loaf and we're going to have a square cake at the end of this. Now I'm just smoothing it out and pushing it into the corners, maximizing the use of that space in the cake tin. What you can do with this as well is once you've cooked it, you can put an icing on top, although I don't tend to do that. I'll make one of these with icing on top if you guys are keen on it. Leave some comments below and tell me what kind of icing you like on a cake, and I'll make my next one with some of that icing. So there we go, cake's away. So I'm pushing those into the oven now, and you want to cook that in the oven for about 50 minutes at about 160 degrees, or a bit lower if you've got a fan forced oven. That's sort of 150 or so. And there we go, the finished product. Now these are great, they'll keep for a few days in the cupboard. Fill up your cake tin and put them with your lunch. And that's the beautiful thing about lining the trays as well. You can just pull these out and just cut the cake, and your trays just take a little bit of a quick cleaning in the sink, and there's no mess and there's no fuss. So yeah, do use your baking paper whenever you can. And there you have it. That's Geoff's special banana cake. So keep that on hand and try it out. Leave some comments below and let us know if you've tried this recipe and what you thought of it. Really hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments below if there's other kinds of cakes you'd like me to try and make, because I'm definitely keen to do that. If you did enjoy the video, it would be great if you could like it and subscribe and share it with your friends, and ding the bell if you'd like to be notified of our new videos whenever they become available. See you in the next one.